mean, double unicorns, we have seen signs of life from them. Um, and I mean, once again, it's gonna come down to, I think, the jungle matchup, and it's just gonna, see if he can get those lanes ahead and, really push that advantage. But I mean, I'm not sure.
Here's my fearless prediction. Today, we get double unicorns back in full swing. They're going to be just rip roaring out the gate, crushing it, doing goofy shit at level one, just throwing teams off, just 100%. We're gonna see them. They're gonna be back in their form, and I'm gonna tell you something else. They are gonna do this so much so that they're gonna put fear into the eyes of Uncle and the Ness and the boys come playoff time. This is what I'm gonna tell you is gonna happen today. GG.
Oh man, I love that take. That's a spicy take right there. I didn't
Yeah,
realize we were starting so hot. I'm
Man,
glad. I'm glad I got the
you're
AC on
back.
for that
You're
one.
back. You're back. We are back. Feel it. Something told me to say that, and listen, watch.
Oh man, well that
Mhm.
that will be our second game of the day. So we'll have to see. And remember that game is against Uncle and the Nephews. But you know, to Cole's point, imagine that kind of turn if they do show up today, and if they are able to take down Uncle and the Nephews, then that most certainly accomplishes what Cole's saying. So it'll definitely be something to watch as we move into that game two of the day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Z, can you tell what is the format today? Right, I'm just gonna do like desk, right?
Yeah, correct. So Cole will be joining us onto onto the desk. During game, it will be Gam and I both casting, me as a play-by-play and Gam as a color caster. So yeah, we will have Cole on the desk, so we will be able to hear all of his takes as he comes back in, bringing nothing but the best of life.
Nothing but heat, bro. Nothing but just either really raw, incorrect takes or just hilarious shit in general. Yeah, exactly. That's how we get it. That's how we coming today.
I'm here for it, and just with your first take of the day already,
Hey,
I feel like
I'm telling you.
some of the crowd might be here today as well. Talking about talking about some nonsense to start off the day, but still really really compelling because if it happens, then it does put the rest of the league on watch, and especially the
Hey,
boys.
somebody
they don't
should clip
call they don't
this.
call him the prophet for nothing, man.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm a big fan of the underdog, and so you know, we'll see what we can get cooking up, man. If I don't say it, then it can't be possible. But if somebody says it, then now all of a sudden we got something cooking. We got something. We're starting something.
It needed to be said,
All right,
Cole. It needed to
there you
be
go.
said.
There you go. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and
Happy
as we
Saturday, chat. By the way, join us.
all right, and it looks like we are going into draft select here. And I am realizing I never fix this scene, but that is nothing but a one, two, three,
Their
four.
fear is
Oh,
wise.
Hey,
boom, and we're back in. All right, so looking at this band, Udyr, just something that's really powerful, but just very typical,
Now is the
very
great
Yeah, I
typical
mean we've
band.
we've seen the Udyr band out basically first phase almost every single game. Like we talked about before, week one and week two, GDI just running rampant on it. I mean, he has gotten nerfed two times I think since, and his items have gotten nerfed, but I think it's still a really strong pick, especially early game, getting those lanes ahead. The Yi ban as well.
Your
Not really what we're used to. I don't has Mocha Mexican played Yi? I don't think
No,
he has.
no games from Yi
So
from Mocha.
maybe they've been scouting. Looking for it, and then of course we see the Lucian ban for Get Me Out, so you might have to go back to those control mage picks that we've seen.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. And, just another point as we do see the Diana banned out, another Mocha Mexican special. Um, they banned Lucian on the blue side, or excuse me, not Lucian, but Udyr. But then to that same point, also Lucian. So these are picks that maybe they're feeling like they want to lock something else up in first, and these are just picks that they're not willing to give away as the last Leona band comes in for the side of Dino Nuggies.
Yeah, and I honestly I don't really understand the Leona ban. I mean, I think they're just gonna first rotation pick Galio like they always have. Maybe they know something that we don't. And I mean, we get the triple jungle ban on the side, so they're really looking to take Milk Mexican off the map here. All right, and we got the first pick Jin. That is for Space Jabberwocky, aka Jedi Saiyan King. He's known for his Jin, known for his misfortune. I think he's been spamming a lot of Jinx games as well. But it looks like he wants to go with the Jin here. One thing I do like about the Jin pick is that while it's not as strong in lane as some of these other picks, it just offers so much utility going into the middle game with his W and then his ult. I mean, it's just so much range, and I think it really synergizes well with a lot of champions. And then we also have Ashe, first rotation on the other side. I do like the Ashe pick just because, they've already showed the Jhin, and I think I think Ashe is a really good matchup into Jhin just because once you get that Frost Shot slow, it's pretty hard for Jhin to get away. Then we got the Nautilus, which I'm assuming is support, but it could also be jungle, Z, just because, we've seen these Nautilus jungle buffs. I think his E does 150% damage to the monsters now.
Yeah, but, is that change enough to make Nautilus viable in jungle? One of the big things I've been seeing is, you're just slower on that clear, and if this is for Black Wando, this will be I believe the first champion we've seen him play other than Galio.
Yeah, no, and then I mean we have Swain coming out. That could be top, that could be mid, that could be support. I'm expecting it to be support. Swain and Jhin is just really broken. I mean, you can CC chain the enemy for a very long time, but I do think the boys do have the advantage in the bot lane with that Ashe Nautilus, if that is a Nautilus support. And we have Jax as well. I'm assuming it's going to be a top lane, could be jungle. We'll see. And that is Dicklong on Cho'Gath, I'm assuming. So it's top lane Cho'Gath.
Yeah, I believe this is his third game of Cho'Gath so far in the ULS. Remember, going into these games, this is game 7 coming in on that week 4. So a lot of Cho'Gath played up to this point, 50% of what he had played. And, going in today, it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do again.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised if we got 2 more jungle bans on the side here. Oh, looks like they're going to ban Alistar. Huh. So, I mean, maybe they think that Swain's going to a solo lane?
Yeah.
Going with the support ban. I mean, obviously, these teams have done a lot more research than we have with, the OPGGs and what these teams are playing. So, once again, maybe they know something we don't. But I would be very surprised if that Swain was going to a solo lane, Z.
Yeah, so would I. Just not as powerful a solo laner as he once was, several nerfs, and then just ultimately making the swap to really focus him as a support. But we'll have to see, like you're saying, these teams doing a lot more digging than we're doing, as it looks like the set will come in as last ban. This really makes me think that they believe that this Swain has to be a solo laner.
Yeah, I mean, we had a support ban and a top lane set ban, so I mean, and from what I think they already picked their support in their top lane, so I think these ban phase is really interesting. And we got an Orianna ban as well, so yeah, I mean, they're just really trying to target Get Me Out here. The Azir is still up for Get Me Out. Morgana's coming. I mean, they have a lot of flex picks, Z. Both teams have flex picks right now, so we really don't know where any of these lanes are going so far.
Yeah, I believe the only ones really locked in right now, truly the Ashe on the side of the boys. But with the Vi coming in, I mean, still something that you have seen solo lane usually as a counter to something, and just seeing that with the variability of these solo laners, I don't believe that would be a Vi solo laner. But the Victor coming in for what we believe Alicization to be Vinny's sub today. That does mean this Swain isn't a solo laner, as we had suspected, and I wonder how bad that's going to come back to bite the boys.
Wow, Get Me Out on the Annie. This is the first time we've seen him. I mean, if he didn't choose Azir here, it would have been a unique champion that he played. So we have the Annie, and I mean, I like the boys team Compilazi. That is a lot of CC. We obviously have the Annie ult, we have the Cho'Gath knockup, we have the Morgana binding, the Morgana ult. You have the Ashe ult, the Ashe slow, Nautilus passive, Nautilus ult, Nautilus hook. I mean,
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough to play against that team.
It's going to be tough to be, especially a champion like Jhin or Victor. Not a lot of escape on these, and if they ever just are able to get on top of them, you can expect to be deleted with no gameplay required on your end.
Hey, if I am Space Jabberwocky and I'm locked in on the Jin right now and I see the enemy team, Z, I am dodging. I'm telling you, I'm taking the -3 LP. I am taking the 5-minute penalty and I am going next. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. I think his team really needs to peel him hard, but it's just, I mean, they don't have much hard CC to do it. So,
Yeah, to
Question
your
for you
point.
guys, real quick. Question for you guys: who has the easier execution, like overall? Who has the easier to execute comp?
In my opinion, I'm leaning way towards the boys. You know, even on the side of Dino Nuggies, you know, you have things that Jax will be able to get in. If he's able to get a lead, he can still be quite a menace. But again, that's conditional if you get a lead. If you go into the mid game even, then the 5v5 is just 100% in favor of the boys. You know, the victor's going to need time to scale up. That means that they're not really going to be able to press the issue with this Victor and the Vi in early games and early river fights and in just roaming 2v2 in general. I believe that the boys, you know, even if you're roaming into an Annie Morgana. Like, yeah, that's a lot of AP, but that's a lot of CC and so much damage.
yeah, I mean, I think, I think Vi and Victor as a duo early game, I do think they will beat the Morgana and Annie if Morgana misses her binding. And that is, I think that's really going to determine, how this early game skirmishes go if that Dark Binding does connect, just because that is a long cooldown. And I mean, you can just walk out of a Morgana W. You just can. And then after that, I mean, what, is she gonna auto attack you to death? Um, so, I do think they have a little bit of advantage in team fights, but I think it's going to come down to this top lane, whether this Jax can, you know, deal with this Dick Long Cho'Gath. And I really do think that Jax does win this matchup early, just because he can kind of auto attack him down. But I mean, like we were talking about earlier, Z, in these earlier games, like once Cho'Gath gets that one item, once he gets that Bramble Vest, it's going to be tough for that Jax to do anything here.
Yeah, just really early game focused against a team that's just going to beat you late game. And I mean, even if this Cho'Gath does get behind and this Jax gets ahead, while Jax is a menace, I feel like everybody else is still in so much danger, you know? Like, just for Jax to make it on the Ashe, it's going to be so hard already. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow, you know, just the slows. I definitely think it's to Vinny's point, definitely something that can be executed. But just as far as level of difficulty goes, it's definitely harder for the side of Dino Nuggies.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I guess the one thing I'm looking at too, though, is I guess the engage comes from the Nautilus. Yeah, so they have a couple points of engage there on their side. But again, you got Jax, you got Vi Ultimate, followed up by the Victor. All I mean, that's a lot of CC, right? Then we can layer on a Swain E. We can layer on binding from Jin at range. I don't know. What I guess I'm trying to think now for Dino Nuggies. What's the win con, right? Where do they go? What can they try to do to find success? Is that a split push option with Jax trying to get ahead, or what are you thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think that you were just about right with the Jax. I mean, I think it's just getting this Jax ahead. If a Jax is ahead, I mean, a Cho'Gath isn't going to be able to do anything. I'm assuming that the Jax is going to go Blade of the Rune King, Divine Sunder into that team, because that's what I would do. We got Divine Sunder buffs this patch. I would not be surprised as well next game if we saw a little bit more Ezreal prio, just because Ezreal is just Giga Busted right now with that item. And I honestly think every champ that has Divine Sunder as core got a big buff last patch. So I think we're really going to see something from this Jax. If he can get ahead top lane, I really don't know how they're going to deal with that split push.
Um, all right, boys. I'll see you guys after the game. Z, love your background.
Thanks, man. The button didn't work, I swear. All right, and we'll have to see if any shenanigans go on to start this game here coming out of the side of the boys. Looking like they want something. It looks like both teams actually want to get into a little something here. Do know
Man.
that they're in that bush just stacking up the stun.
Dino Nuggies do not win this level 1, Z, let me tell you. I'm looking for a flash 5-man Annie W right here. She got that passive stacked up. I mean, this is a recipe for disaster. And I mean, right now they don't see each other, but I'm telling you, if they run in, I would not be surprised if this was a utter disaster for the side of the Dino Nuggies.
Yeah, and we'll have to see who makes the move first because no vision place means they don't know if anybody warded or if anything else had gone on, is it will just be the ward on the blue buff and going back, but you know, we'll have to see. Yokimoto might be getting into some spicy pathing here. This is an easy flash hook for the Nautilus. Will at least cost a flash with a good root from the Swain. We'll have to see if Black One. No, Yuruti doesn't even need the flash. Just hits. Just hits Mocha Mexican. Mocha Mexican, my apologies. Thrown off. Thought he was playing in the jungle. But, oh my gosh. Just rooted up and blown up. And that's just that CC we're seeing out. That Morgana binding. That hit by the Nautilus. It's just so brutal.
Yeah, Z, I think we're going to see that a lot this game, where it's just if someone gets hit by just a little bit of CC, I mean, that person is dying. I mean, the only negative that I can think of is that Iridescent Poro here did have to start Q, which makes his clear a little bit slower than usual, but he did get that fat leash from his bot lane, so I think at the end of the day, obviously, it is a very big win for the Dino Nuggies here.
Yeah, I would have to agree, and just she's been looking at it. Oh, I'll have to give you control here for a second, and I gotta fix this up.
Yeah, typically, I mean, this bot lane right here, Ashe Nautilus, I do think they have a little bit of advantage going into, you know, the Jhin Swain lane. If the Swain does hit, you know, his E, and, you know, gets a little CC, you can do that with the Deadly Flourish with the Jhin, and I mean, you can get a lot of damage off, but, you know, typically, I do think the Ashe has the edge in this lane early. But, I mean, we'll have to see, how this plays out with the teams, just because, you know, they did get that first blood, and that is a lot of momentum in the mid lane. But Annie also did not get the back either, so she's still sitting on that corrupting potion. I mean, I think she should have backed and got.
Oh man, and total sellout just caught out here, and there's another wave of CC. Rupture doesn't even have to land, and that's a quick 2-0 start for the boys.
Oh man, Big Z, the thing you do not want to see on the side of Dino Nuggies is a big. Oh, there's the CC I was talking about. Is a big lead from, you know, one of their star players. Get me out.
Oh, and another hook landed on the Mocha. Does have that flash.
Oh man, this is just a really intense early game. A lot of trading going on. And, you know, in the top lane, what we were talking about, that Jax is going to have to get an early lead. And, I mean, he went Ignite, so he has the advantage. I would not be surprised if we saw a solo kill on the top lane here.
Yeah, would definitely be possible here. Looks like he will just let that crash in, but... yeah, we'll have to see how Dick Long is able to absorb that pressure. Is Get Me Out, really, who I'm looking at, has both of these kills on that invade and on just that roam up to catch total sellout in the jungle.
Yeah, it looks like Iridescent Poro is going to try to make a play mid here as well.
Yeah, and looked up. Looks like he was hit by the Dark Binding, just stunned out. Yokimoto does have the flash. We'll use it in the end. A flash auto would kill him. We'll see if Get Me Out commits for it. Flashes for the W, but one more hit will take him out, giving that shutdown. Going over to the Victor, you know, I gotta wonder if he could have just flash autoed earlier and made it out. Total sellout. Might be caught out here, hit by the Dark Binding. Should still have the W, but rooted by the Nautilus. You do not get to play League of Legends today. Iridescent Poro picking up the 4th kill for the boys. Oh man, and the action just might not stop. Dick Long walking out just a little bit too far. It does have the rupture. Does mean that Alicization will have to back off. But excuse me, another root comes out as Mocha Mexican burning down from the Ignite space. Jabberwocky now looking like he is the target. Mr. Action getting a lot of damage off, but that is a root. And he's going to take a tower shot. Will expend the flash. Get out. Ashe does have cleanse this game. No flash. The Dark Binding landed and now burning in the pool of sadness. I know that's not the name, but I definitely feel sad when I'm binded and locked up in that.
Oh man, Poro is still looking for something here. I mean, they are low. If they get hit by what Dark Binding, Z, I mean, it's not going to be good for them. They might honestly look for a dive here with the Nautilus.
Yeah, and it's not just Poro, or Iridescent Poro here. You see Get Me Out has also roamed down, and though he has died, he's ready to get another kill. That's 1. Make it 2, as actually that will be Iridescent Poro picking up that one.
Oh man, the boys here coming out firing on all cylinders. And I mean, Z, like we were talking about in pregame, they are pissed off about that loss last Sunday. So I mean, I think they're, you know, trying to prove here, you know, we're still the best team in the league. And I mean, with a team comp like this, it is just so punishing to play against.
Man, Alicization taking a shot, but that will mean that the Ocean Dragon is summoned up. Fairly Ocean Dragon coming out of the side of the boys, barring any Yokimoto heroics here. But don't believe anything will come down. Oh, actually really close on that one. It will be picked up. Great smite from Poro.
Yeah, I mean, this duo that we've talked about so much, Iridescent Poro and Get Me Out, I mean, after that first blood, Get Me Out, he already comes back with the Lost Chapter, and I mean, it's going to be hard. See, like we've talked about so much on this broadcast, I think it's going to come down to whether Dino Nuggies can stop the bleeding, as I like to say. And I mean, I don't think that Iridescent Poro and Get Me Out are going to let them have any breathing room with these picks.
No, and we've already seen just so much pressure. We're only 6 minutes into the game right now. This game feels like it's already so beyond its time with just how much the boys have pressed the issue.
Yeah, and I mean, like we were talking about, it's just so hard with the CC chain that they have. Oh, and Get Me Out actually gets 6th here. I think Yokimoto actually has an XP lead, strangely enough. I think that Rome bot in the tower dive, I think Get Me Out lost a little bit of XP there. So, I mean, like I said, it's only a 2k gold lead at 6 minutes. I definitely don't think it's out of Dino Nuggies' hands yet, just because, they are still pretty even in XP. They are down in items, but, I mean, we can see in the top lane, this Jax, he's got 3 waves on this Cho'Gath already, 7 minutes in, so I think it's really going to come down to whether or not they can get this Jax going, and he can become an unstoppable split pusher.
Yeah, and this Jax, like you're saying, that lead is building up, and that's what we talked about being a win condition for them. So really good job for the side of Dino Nuggies, absorbing a lot of this early game pressure and just keeping an eye on where they win around the map.
Yeah, no, I mean, this bot lane is going exactly how we expected as well. I think the Ashe and the Nautilus is just too oppressive in lane. I mean, Jhin Swain is good, but I think Ashe just outranges Jhin, and I mean, like we were talking about with if Jhin gets slowed, he does not have any really gap closers to deal with that, so I mean, that is just really oppressive to deal with. They got a big fat wave stacking up though, and unfortunately Iridescent Poro is not here for another dive, but I'm going to be interested to see how much of this CS that Space Jabberwocky can pick up here.
Yeah, and one thing I really liked, actually just then, Dick Long moved down to contest total sellout at the blue buff, does have that feast, would have been able to take that away from him. So slowing down the Vi's pathing, but then also moving down into the mid lane. That Jax is something he knows he can't push against, and when the wave was on his side, just how well he was able to manage just his time on that. They didn't turn out into anything, but you do slow down the jungler, and you're making yourself useful as opposed to just staying up. As we do have a fight in the bot lane, that's a flash coming down for Space Jabberwocky is ignited. Ashe does not have level 6, means that it won't result in anything, but the stun does land. A nice execute. There's a level 6, but a little too far under tower for us to really dive. And now we have a gank at the top lane. Get Me Out with the roam coming with Iridescent Poro. Alicization able to get out of that one just with the Q leap and not needing to burn any sums there.
Oh man, the boys are absolutely relentless this game, Z. I mean, well, honestly, see, we got a little bit of a XP lead in the jungle matchup. This Vi, level 6 already, and Iridescent Poro still sitting at level 5, so, I think this Vi needs to do something here. I think he needs to call his solo lanes like, hey, I have the level advantage, I got all, let's try to make something happen.
Yeah, and I gotta believe Iridescent Poro pretty close to hitting that level 6. Should get it off his next camp, but will just be a startup of the Rift Herald, I believe, coming out of Iridescent. It looks like that is going to be the case. But yeah, this Vi with the level lead, the big thing is just not really able to do anything with it. I think that, after this Rift and then moving up, taking Krugs, then Morgana is just also level 6.
Yeah, no, I think, pressing your advantage when you, press tab and you see you have a level, especially, I don't think there is a level as important as a level 6 to level 5 lead, especially in the early game. So, I mean, I think they missed their window here to make something happen. Unfortunately, the boys picked up Dragon earlier, so they couldn't really posture around that. And I mean, they couldn't get anything going top lane. So I mean, this Vi, just hasn't been able to get anything going.
Yeah, and just, a lot of early game aggression coming out of the side of the boys, resulting in those level leads, but perhaps, like you're saying, just not much of a punish coming out. His total sellout posturing. This will be a 3v4 in the 3v4 in the bot lane, but it doesn't matter if Yokimoto just gets blown up at the beginning of the fight. Mr. Action able to pick up that one. The Black Shield will keep him safe from the Vi. Ultimate just walks out of that one.
Oh.
Vi is gone, and Space Jabberwocky is stunned out, but here comes Dick Long running on the backside. Does have the feast. Really just here to choose who dies. Mocha Mexican gets slowed and picks up. That is a 4-for-1 in favor of the boys.
I do not think Iridescent Poro has missed a dark finding this whole game, Z. I'm gonna be honest. He is 2-0-7 with 9 out of 10 KP for his team. I mean, this man is putting the team on his back. And I think him and Get Me Out, after their loss last week, they said, hey, let's grind some games together. We need to get this synergy back up. And I mean, they are making a statement right now. And they put the Rift Arrow bot, give some of that extra gold to Ashe.
I love
and
that.
they got the second drag. It's gonna be a 21-minute soul if they keep doing these drags on spawn.
Yeah, Mr. Action might be caught out here. Should be able to walk this out as the Ashe, unless Total Sellout burns the flash. Should just be able to kite back with Black Wando in the area, and a great hook lands. You are just dead. Dark Binding comes in. Goodbye. Total Sellout 0-4-0 on this vibe.
Man, I don't want to say Jungle Diff Z, but I mean, Iridescent Poro, these bindings, man, I do not think he's missed. And I mean, this CC chain is just, it's so brutal. It is, I mean, like you said, you cannot play the game against a team comp like this. If Iridescent Poro hits a binding, then you're as good as dead, especially with a lead like this, too. I mean, it's brutal to play against.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, we talk about Uncle and the Nephew so much, but, again, if we were in the NBA, we'd say our second premier backcourt in the league is definitely the Bois. You look at where this gold lead is, 2-0-8, 6-2-2. Like, these guys are just taking over games, and Iridescent Poro's still down here. They're trying to find something. Oh, and the hook just goes a little short, but that doesn't mean the ultimate. And the Dark Binding actually tanked by that minion. A great layer of CC, but a great stop on. Doesn't matter as Mr. Action just stays on him and blows him up.
Man, Z, I don't even think Iridescent Poro needs the bind at this point. I think, he can just fall up on his team. I mean, still without the binding, Z, it's just so much CC coming out from these ults. And I mean, it's getting to the point where it is almost...
Oh no, Yokimoto doesn't know. The Dark Binding lands a stun from the Annie. The Rupture into the silence. Just throw your keyboard away. You're not using it.
Iridescent Poro. My God, this man is putting on a show. I mean, there's only been one kill that he hasn't been involved in, and Z, it might honestly have been first blood. I don't know where the kill happened, but I mean, this man is putting on a show on this Morgana.
Yeah, and this Jax just, staying completely committed to that split push mentality. 96 CS, up 40 CS on this Cho'Gath. But if you ask me, the Cho'Gath has been absolutely more impactful this game already, able to roam with his team, able to get things going. As Vi is roaming top, this might be an all-in. The knockup, Dicklong, maybe sticking around too long, not really respecting just exactly what Jax can do, and the Vi goes in on him, ulti right in front of the tower, but doesn't mean a thing as Total Sellout, getting another one back for Dino Nuggies.
Yeah, Total Sellout finally pathing top, and I mean, that's what I think he should have been doing since he got 6, and I mean, he finally makes something happen there, and the Ignite with the Jax, unfortunately, like we were talking about earlier, Dicklong did TP for drag there and made a big play, but I mean, this Jax is, he's got double his CS, he's got every plate except for one. I mean, this is going to be a big boy, and I think he's going to have Blade of the Ring King after he goes back as well, or close to it.
Yeah, and this Jax really will become a menace. Looking over at Dicklong, actually opted out of starting the Bramble, and you might be able to justify it. He's been doing a lot more roaming than he has actually sitting in lane against this Jax. But definitely, yeah, with that Blade of the Ruin King coming through, you're going to be feeling it. If you don't have that Bramble, this Jax will be unkillable already, very much so. But for the Cho'Gath, you really will feel like you're doing nothing.
Yeah, no, I'm really curious about that Bomby Cinder as opposed to the Bramble Vest buy here. Just because, I mean, buying health into Blade of the Rune King Z, that's not really what you want to do.
Exactly, the flash forward does come through, the Dark Binding from downtown. Mocha Mexican getting all in right now, but excuse me, you are gone. The Gale Force coming out of the Ash for the reposition. The Crystal Enchanted Arrow will go just a little wide. The Jin ultimate to the face does take out Mr. Action on the backside, and Total Sellout trying to keep his ADC alive, but Black Wando doing things that no one thought possible on Nautilus, taking down another one in a 2v1, and here comes Iridescent Poro, the Q already used, but she's charging it up, might be stunned up, will just get away as Dicklong is engaged, and this is exactly what we were talking about, buying health into the Blade of the Ruined King is just signing your own death sentence. You're increasing just what that item is able to do, and Dicklong just might die here under tower, stunned up, the W empowered hit coming through, and actually, wait a minute, Flash Burn does keep him alive. Dicklong going back in, has to be careful, the jump into the W coming through for the Jax does end up taking him out on the top side.
Hey, I don't think anybody saw that turret auto there, Z, but I mean, it did not matter at the end of the day. I think Dick Long needed to get out of there, you know. His TP was about to be up, and I mean, a Blade of the Ring King Jax, I mean, he still has the potential to take over the game. That is a big Jax.
Yeah, Mr. Action actually up by himself here. Should
I don't know if he
be
wins this,
careful. Yeah, it does not have the enchanted. Crystal Arrow does have the cleanse, so perhaps just banking on I have my sums, you don't have your sums. Definitely with the cleanse flash could have come out on top of that, but still a very risky play, as they might look to start the dragon here. But there are 3 roaming down. They are not all together here.
Man.
They are separated on this dragon call, and Space Jabberwocky just caught out on the side. The rupture goes wide. The silence misses, but it doesn't matter. You gotta believe he's down. Cho'Gath still has the fees, but it doesn't need it because it's picked up by Iridescent Portal. This man does everything. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will just miss, but it doesn't matter. The Morgana Bird does take him down, and they move right up to Rift Herald. They're not even on the map. 16 minutes into the game. 5 and 20, a 7,000 gold lead for the side of the boys.
25 kills in 17 minutes, Z. I mean, this might be one of the most action-packed games we've seen in the ULS. I mean, like we were talking about before the games, both these teams, you know, nothing to lose. They're having fun. You know, the boys, they're just like, you know, let's see what we can do. Let's see how much we can push our lead. And I mean, again, Iridescent Portal, these Dark Bindings, I mean, he's already got his Landry's finished. That is a big boy.
Oh man, something of note here. Look at the Jax damage. That's just off of 2 Ash volleys. You know, does have that Blade of the Rune King, but is still very squishy. Definitely not at the point he would like to be. Wants to be still in this side lane. Wants to be matched up against his Cho'Gath. In team fights, I believe he'll just pop. Just like Total Sellout might pop here. Excuse me, a Dark Binding actually misses. I did not think it possible, but here's the Andy to stun him up. Mr. Action says thank you very much. And there's another Dark Binding landed in at the root. Coming in from Black Wandell, pops the W, might just be able to walk out of that one. One more shot would do it as Alicization comes up from the backside, but locked up by the Dark Binding. Mr. Action will just miss the root coming out from the Swain, and a 2-for-1 in favor of the boys, but, you know, good on them to be able to find that kill. Black Wandell did have a shutdown, and, you know, just at this point, you're fine taking at least 1 kill if you're getting a shutdown.
Hey man, if I look up at the scoreboard and it is 22-6, I'm down 8k gold in less than 20 minutes. I'll take 2-for-1s any day of the week. But I mean, you just have to look at the items here. I mean, Mr. Action on the Ash, he has Gale Force and Runings, and I mean, this Jhin is still looking for his Mythic, which I'm assuming is going to be Gale Force, but I mean, it's just going to be tough to come back from, and I mean, the level leads are getting pretty big. We got Total Sellout on the Vi, level 9, and Iridescent Portal just hit level 11 on that blue buff, so he's got that level 2 ult. Get me out sitting on that level 2 ult while Yokimoto is still level 10 on this Victor, and I mean, I think this next team fight is going to be an absolute slaughter.
Yeah, and it's going to look tough. His Total Sellout actually might just be caught out. Yeah, you might be able to get some damage down, but that is an Ash. You will be slowed, and his team is in the area. That's another kill going down. The Gravity Field will keep them safe, and the Swain gets a stack off of that. But at this point, stack faster, please. This Jax just might be in trouble. We'll have to see if he decides to stay under tower. They're thinking about it. The Nautilus hook does go wide, but with total control of this top side, Yokimoto just trying to move up, trying to save him, and knocked out by the Dark Binding. The Nautilus ulti comes through, and Dick Long feasts on Yokimoto. The hook will just hit a minion and be a little slower. Alicization, oh, the rupture misclicked. Might have been something to go, but Alicization does need to be careful as he is locked up, and it doesn't matter because Space Jabberwocky just found out. Iridescent Portal picks that one up with the fade away. Don't even have to look at you, try to predict the flash, but Alicization trying to stay in the fight, and Dick Long gets revenge for the rough early phase, and meanwhile, Get Me Out just hanging out, picking up gold in this mid lane.
Man, I was not aware before this game that there was a new Assassin Morgana build this patch. I mean, are you kidding me? One-shotting the 80 carry like that? I mean, I know he has Dark Harvest, I know he has the Leandries, but my god, that damage is illegal.
Yeah, and Get Me Out getting engaged on by Total Sellout, but Total Sellout, maybe you've been missing it. This isn't the game where you just get to walk in on somebody 4 levels higher than you.
You're down 4 levels, brother. Oh man, it's just the bleeding. It won't stop. And I mean, they have complete control of their jungle now. They're just sitting on inhib turrets at this point, except in you know, the bot lane they still have that outer. But My God, Z, I wouldn't be surprised if they got Soul here and then they pushed him Baron and then they just ended the game.
Yeah, I think that with Soul coming in here will be the deal sealer, and then that's the bonus movement with this Morgana with Cloud Soul, just able to activate that ultimate and just run into the team. It's tough. It's going to be really hard for the side of Dino Nuggies to play into that.
I mean, Z, I usually hate it when I have Cloud Soul on my team, but I mean, if you're looking at the Ashe ult, if you're looking at the Nautilus ult, Morgana ult, even a Flash Annie ult, I mean,
Yeah,
all
Cho'Gath
these...
Cho'Gath Feast.
Yeah, Cho'Gath Feast as well. I mean, even that movement speed from that, I mean, it's just... All their ults are just very, very strong, and I mean, that cooldown reduction and the movement speed from it are just going to be huge, and I mean, even aid them even more in getting these catch-outs here.
Yeah, and it does look like, setting up for this dragon. Only 2 people, Nautilus, the Ashe, Get Me Out, actually has a pretty good flank position if they overcommit here, but no vision in the try. But oh man, this would be absolutely filthy here. He sees the Jin. Goodbye. Get Me Out just blows him up with the ultimate. The Agile comes down and does stun up the Vi, but Iridescent Poro, look at him just flying in. Nobody can get away from that. They're just getting deleted. The Gale Boys forward from the Ashe, and Get Me Out robbed of a pentakill as he picks up the quadra kill. And this has to be game for the side of the boys.
My God, what a flash ult from Iridescent Poro. Iridescent Poro wasn't even in that fight. He said, you know what, you guys got this. I'm going to secure the dragon. You know what, never mind. I'm going to get a flash 4-man ult real quick. And I mean, yeah, Z, I think that the game might end right here. They don't even need Baron. 22 minutes. It is 32-6. I mean, turn off the lights.
Yeah, and I mean, we're looking at game speeds right now on par with Uncle and the Nephew. So you have to ask the question, as it looks like they just want to pat the stats. A goodbye, Mocha Mexican. I blinked and missed it. His total sellout, pulling up the Valiant effort to try to keep the base. Interaction does go quite low. Alicization able to jump in, but will be locked up. Look at that front line. You can't run past them. Yokimoto stunned up, and with the rupture coming through, don't need it. The volley picks it up, and the boys in 23 minutes will take down the Dino Nuggies.
I mean, Z, I don't know what to say. That was a 16k gold lead, 23 minutes. Absolute domination from Iridescent Poro there. I mean, that is about as good of a team comp as you are going to get. I think they executed it perfectly. And, I think Dino Nuggies needed to play toward topside more. And I think that just came down to them just making poor decisions about where to focus the jungle. And just, they just kept letting the boys get those catches.
Yeah, and I mean, we got to see just what you can do with these CC heavy comps, just really took over that game from the very beginning. We see Vi try to invade, try to get a little lead for herself, and just immediately snuffed out, caught on vision, great warding from the side of the boys, catches the Vi out, and just level 1. We are learning, and this wasn't even level 1. We actually had a level 1, right? This was a level 2 play, because at this point everyone's just roaming up after just killing you on the early game invade. It was such a heartbreaking start for the side of Dino Nuggies, because a position like that is already just so hard to play back from, but to snowball it from there, really well played from the boys.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talk about this week after week, Z, but I mean, we do see signs of life from the Dino Nuggies. We really do. I mean, that top lane lead, that was good. It's just, I mean, the substitutes and, just not knowing what their win con is and not really playing towards that. I really think that, I think if they get a 5-man squad, I think if they, practice with that 5-man squad a little bit more, we could see a first win here. But, I mean, you don't want to play against angry the boys, because they will shut you down, and it's going to be a 22-minute game. So,
yeah,
not much else to say.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, from my side, guys, watching that game as a jungle main, you just hate to see it. You get behind a little bit, early, get down 2-0, then you're really forcing there in the bot lane was the Vi, and unfortunately, just getting 3-man, chasing down the Ashe, trying to make something happen for your team. And you just hate to see it. So GG's both sides, but yeah, that early lead, just being able to. They snowballed it with I'd say a high efficiency. As a matter of fact, they just took no prisoners. Anyways, GG.
GG's.
Yeah, and oh man, I'm just really still blown away by that performance, because I feel like we just spent a lot of our pre-show talking about how well of macro the side of Uncle and the Nephews play, and I feel like the boys in that game. We asked how much do these games matter? Are they going to try new comps? And what I ultimately got from that game is there's more than one team in this league that is proficient at macro. And I feel like maybe we were talking too much. Maybe this was gonna be an easy game. Maybe they're like, hey, let's coast into playoffs. But hearing how much we gas up another team, and they're just like, all right, wait a minute, we're a macro team too. Don't take last week and inflate it into something big. That matchup against Uncle and the Nephews against us, that third game. Because remember, we are 1-1, or no, we're 2-0 in both games. Close in their own ways. I just feel like the boys making a statement. In a game that, like we were saying in the earlier stages of today, we're like, hey, no one has to take this seriously, but to them, it clearly mattered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how excited I am for this best of three coming up, C. And I mean, the boys are ready, man. You can see it already. They are just ready for the best of threes, and I mean, get me out as well. I mean, he came out swinging, picking a new pick. We got the Annie, and I mean, you get the quadra kill. He popped off, and I think this guy continues to surprise us with his champion picks. I know. I mean, personally, I low key wrote him off like, oh, like this guy plays control mages. He's playing Victor. He's playing Azir. We're not going to see anything from this guy. He's a one trick whatever, but I mean the Lucian, the Annie, and I mean he got the Lucian ban this week too, and I mean that just shows these teams are not one dimensional, and there's a lot that they can still surprise us with.
Yeah, absolutely, and just exciting. Sorry, Cole, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Just a couple of highlights for the swag plays of the game. We had Jackson top side, had to blow his flash to avoid the turret shot, but then went and finished the kill onto the Cho'Gath. We love to see that. That was just a total ego move there from top laners. That didn't have any hindrance or any real regard for really the game at all. But good for Jax for cleaning that up. In the end by getting me out on the Annie at the end. I don't know if you guys saw that, but what happened was Annie stood at the foot of the Nexus or at the stairs, spawn pool, whatever, right? And fucking like flashed in and then stopwatched so that oh dude, it was I appreciated the BM for kicking me out. That was
That
not
shit's
bad.
toxic, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.